Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Cucuy and Friends with your host, Amy Contisano.
Okay, so we can finally stop guessing about what moves the Raiders are going to make in the draft. I'm Amy Contisano. I'm here with John Silva and Big Meeze to talk about some of the draft picks and also to kind of reminisce about some of the draft picks and how we did. But we're also going to look forward to this upcoming season to see what the schedule might look like. So, John, let's start off with the draft that just wrapped. And I know I feel like Raiders Twitter is really butthurt right now. What did you think of the first round?
Well, before we get into the picks this year, I want to say that I want to give Mike Mayock the benefit of the doubt based on last year's draft picks. We got quite a few starters out of there. Should have been Rookie of the Year with Josh Jacobs. We got Trayvon Mullen, Foster Moreau, and probably the biggest steal in the draft, Mad Max. Not to mention Hunter Renfrow. So Mayock did a really good job with the draft last year. Got us quite a few starters who hopefully will show improvement over the last season.
Now, I think that when I was doing coverage for Cover 32, as far as watching the draft and everything like that, Mike Mayock was one of my absolute favorite people to watch. Just the different insight and everything like that he had bringing to the table. And I just felt like that was going to be something that we were going to be able to get on our side. And then the first draft happened, and I was like, oh, that's it? So I just kind of felt like, I was like, but all that stuff that you did when you were covering the draft, all the insight that you had, where did that go? What kind of a draft is this? Why am I a sad panda? You know?
Also, before we start patting Mayock too much, like, he missed with Cleveland Farrell big time. And I know there's a wave of people that are on the internet that are like, oh yeah, but if you look at his numbers, blah, 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 like, no, if you pick someone 4, you want 5 to 7 Pro Bowls. You know, you want an impact player. You want a guy, on the high end that's going to change your whole franchise and that's going to get a Mitchell and Ness jersey, where Cleveland Farrell is going to be, probably a solid, maybe even a good rotation guy. And that's not what you want with the number 4 draft pick. So I'm one of the few that rates the draft from last year a lot lower than most people, because everyone's like, oh, Mad Max, oh, yeah. Like, yeah, that's cool, but number 4, you want a fucking Hall of Fame player, right?
Yeah, I've been accused of being very negative towards the Raiders, so I'm trying to stay a little positive tonight.
I'll stay negative for you.
I was going to say, I'm like, isn't that a hallmark of being a Raiders fan? Like, you hate your team more than everyone hates them?
God,
isn't that our thing?
You didn't see all the shit I was getting on Twitter and Facebook?
Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to go back and search for those tweets.
Yeah. A lot of people are like, are you even a fan? And you never have anything positive to say. And I was like, what did they have positive to talk about?
But yeah, there's a whole wave of people that are like, oh, you're a fake fan. You're a fake fan. They don't really give it to me that much. But yeah, I see it on yours. And I see on Lurid Raider, he's always getting the you're a fake fan thing.
Yeah.
They also tend to have avatars, profile pictures wearing Oakleys and probably
Curry and all that other fun stuff.
It's never their own face. It's a Raider avatar or whatever. So fuck them anyway.
Well, the other day I was talking with Raider Ryan from Twitter, and we were talking a little bit about the draft and everything like that, and he brought up a good question. Is there ever going to be a time where in the first round, the Raiders just look at the board and say, you know what, right now, this is where we're picking. This is the best guy that's on the board, and they go for it? Or are they always just going to sit there and do something where they're drafting for need, and it's always somebody that could have been picked up in like the 3rd round?
There's always that. But this year, forget every scouting report. They went classic L. Davis and just took the fastest guy right off the top.
Yeah, and in the moment, I was definitely like, what the fuck are we doing? Like because, it was Judy and Lamb were kind of considered the cream of the crop. And then Ruggs, there was probably like 2 other guys with Ruggs that were supposed to be, the next tier. And then kind of like a big jumble of receivers after that are going to go in the 2nd and 3rd rounds. But I mean, in the moment I was definitely upset, but I think, if Ruggs can do it, then I'm not upset about it at all. Like, if they decide that's the guy that they wanted, let's fucking go.
Yeah. Getting Ruggs, we have a guy that could score from anywhere on the field. The last time the Raiders had that, God, I can't even remember. Josh Jacobs is kind of close, but he lacks the breakaway speed. But it's been years since the Raiders have had a guy that could go 75, 80 yards for a touchdown. That excitement right there, that's what I have excitement for. I'm looking forward to that type of energy.
Yeah, some big plays.
Yeah, we have big playmaking abilities. I believe they said he had 5 touchdowns of 20 yards or more.
Yeah, his stats are ridiculous. Like on 96 catches or something like that, he had 24 touchdowns. I don't remember the exact stat, but it's a ridiculous percentage of his catches turned into touchdowns. So that day I was definitely down on it, especially once we picked our second pick. But after cooling off, I was like, you know what? I fuck with Ruggs. I think he's gonna be dope for us. So I'm ready to go all in.
Well, you better get online and buy you that jersey then.
You gotta wait till his number's out. There's people buying like a Ruggs #1 jersey, and I'm like, why are you gonna buy that jersey? It's dumb. Let him pick his number and then get that one.
Yeah, after the last batch of players, Carr, Cooper, Mack, I had already determined before that I am not buying a current player jersey.
Yeah.
And with that trio right there, just made me feel so much better about my decision to not buy a current player jersey.
I haven't bought a current player jersey. Well, Marshawn Lynch, I bought his. The day we signed him, I was like, I don't even care if he gets 20 yards and never plays ever a down again. I'm getting a Marshawn Lynch Raiders jersey. But before that, I think I bought a McFadden jersey at Marshall's for $20 when he was still on the team. But that's it, And then I bought a Sap jersey. I like my Sap jersey. I think I donated it, but I like fucking with people because I don't know. Sap was actually good for the Raiders.
Yeah,
I think people, he wasn't worth the contract, but that's not his fault. If someone offers you all that money, and take it, right?
I'm not going to turn it down.
Yeah. So talking about the second draft pick, I had a Zoom going. It was me and Pepe and Jerry and a couple of friends, and I mean, you would have thought someone just came and fucking shot our moms like right in front of us. We were fucking upset, and it's kind of the thing with Farrell for me. It's not that I don't like the player and I don't think he'll be good or anything, but like Amy said earlier, he could have been got a little bit later. And again, I think kind of the same with Ruggs. After thinking about it, I was like, you know what? A lot of people had him rated the third cornerback. Fuck it. Let's go. If he ends up being good, who cares that we took him, 10 picks early or whatever.
Yeah, but he's also from Ohio State, and nobody wants that, so.
I would trade you for Chase Young right now.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, when that pick came through, of course, the first thing was like, Damon Arnett, like, who is this guy? And, of course, it's not a sexy pick. But after gelling for a couple of days and able to read a little bit more about him, and, Gruden was quoted saying that he played last year hurt with a broken wrist. I think he's the best tackler in the draft. I think he's old school, bump and run, Raider cornerback that's physical and nasty. So, of course, Gruden loves everybody, but that's a pretty good endorsement and something the Raiders haven't had at all.
Yeah, I saw a video with Okuda talking on one of the ESPN shows. And he was talking to Kuiper. I think it was before the draft. And even Kuiper was saying, if he sneaks into the first round, I wouldn't be surprised. And then I've read that from other people too. So, like I said, I've talked myself into it. And then, with day 2, when we did what we did in the third round, you start believing in it more and more, right?
Yeah, and especially without having a second round draft pick, you're going to have to reach for somebody, knowing that they're going to tried to go for 2 wide receivers in the 3rd round, I guess you kind of had to go with the defensive player. Yeah. Hopefully it works out.
I'm worried. I'm a little worried about that 40 time. And
40 time.
I kind of want to see it, maybe watch a little YouTube of him just to see him keeping up with some of the faster guys. Because, there's a lot of guys that aren't super fast that are really good cornerbacks. Like I think Sherman probably isn't the fastest guy out there, but he uses his positioning in order to keep himself, in the play. So, if this guy can do that, then I'm all for it, right?
Yeah. No, and like I said, Mayock, he's pulled some rabbits out of his hat last year, and maybe this is another one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe in 5 drafts, we'll be looking back and saying, like, wow, that really turned out really well for us. Or it could be 2020, and we could be looking back at the 2016 draft thinking, okay, well, we got Carl Joseph, and that was cool for a minute.
You mean we'll be talking about him and like, wait, does he still play? Did another team sign him?
Hey, where's he at now? Right?
And then we moved into the 3rd round, and probably the most interesting pick, the Lynn Bowden Jr. from Kentucky.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard much about him, but I did see a YouTube video of him getting into an altercation before a game.
Right.
And I was actually watching, not that game, but I was at like Buffalo Wild Wings or something like that. And
when it was happening.
Yeah, when it was happening, I was like, whoa, hey. And then somebody showed the thing on YouTube. It's like, hey, I remember that game. That was him. And yeah, we got a guy with fire in him. And I like this quote that he provided too. He said, my mindset is I'm coming to take somebody's job. And my first year there, not 3 years down the line. So he's ready. He's good to go. He's got that competitive fire in him. And that's something that you always want to see in a football player.
And then Brian Edwards, he looks like he might be like a good wide receiver, the guy that's going to be open when you need him to be open.
Oh, yeah, he's 6'3", 215 pounds. That's you put him in the red zone, and now you have a good red zone threat that could come down with the ball. Also, touching back on Lynn Bowden, he had 7 20-yard or more touchdowns, which is the same amount as the entire Raiders wide receiving core in 2019.
One thing that I'm worried about with Bowden isn't him per se, but last year we had Josh Jacobs, and I feel like we did nothing creative with him in the offense, aside from going off tackle, which he's really good at. But I feel like we didn't use him to his full capability. Like maybe he could be like a Saquon, a Kamara, where they're dynamic coming out of the backfield, and we didn't see that. So I'm worried that Bowden kind of gets lost in that same kind of, we find one way to use them, and that's the only way we use them, right? I'm a little worried about that.
Yeah, well, he's a athletic stud. Like Kentucky recruited him to play wildcat quarterback before moving him to receiver. And then before he actually started playing quarterback, because the first 2 down got injured, he was practicing to be a nickel cornerback. And he's also a return man, so the guy could literally do it all.
Yeah, I'm excited. I hope we use him right.
Yeah, I think of all the picks, I'm more excited to see him play than anybody else.
Yeah. And I definitely want to see Ruggs, out in the open field. Like, that'll be fun, watching him just break away from everyone. But, yeah, I want to see, if we can use Bowden right, it's going to be really fun watching him. Out of, that guy Tanner Meeze, I don't know about that pick.
Yeah, I think that's more for special teams. He claims he plays special teams, and that's his specialty, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
But he's a linebacker / safety, so more of a hybrid player, which might actually help us. And, got 3rd and 10 coming up, it's going to be a pass play. You can bring him in. He could be your linebacker that could actually cover, because God knows the Raiders need a linebacker that could cover.
John Simpson, the guard. When we drafted him, a lot of the experts, it made it sound like, hey, we might have a guard for the next 5 to 8 years with this guy. You know what I mean? Like he's ready to go right away. I think he might end up being one of those sneaky, when we look back on it 5 years later, like, oh, this guy, like that was a good pick.
Yeah, he's a big guy, 6'4", 330 pounds. There was a lot of talk about the Raiders moving Gabe Jackson, and once they drafted John Simpson, the talk got even a little bit more. But we haven't seen anything yet. But now the Raiders have 9 linemen on the team, and somebody's probably going to have to go because that's quite a bit of linemen to carry on your roster.
Yeah, might be worth it to keep him, though. And then the last guy, Meek Robertson, I think I like that kid. I think he might be a good addition to the team.
Yeah, from what I read, a lot of people had him rated as the top slot cornerback in the draft.
Yeah.
The one thing with him, though, it's a bit small. He's like 5'8" and weighs like 187 pounds. But he did have 14 interceptions in his 3 seasons, so eye for the ball. And 3 of those were run back for touchdowns. A guy who could score on defense.
Yeah, that we don't have any. Like, I never feel like we can never get a pick six. When you look at our roster, just like who's going to do it? Like last year, Harris randomly had those pick sixes, but it's like he's not doing that again.
No. Yeah, he went off against the Chargers. That was a great game, and that was honestly probably like the game of his life right there. I don't think he could expect anybody to have a game like that again.
I feel like you guys have way too much knowledge about all the non-sexy picks.
Well, I think you're missing out on some of these are actually, like, I think, the 2 wide receivers in the 3rd round are going to be fucking big for us,
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited for both of them, especially if Gruden can dig into his bag of tricks and actually come up with, exciting ways to use Bowden. I think that we're going to be looking at this draft pick, fondly, unlike Amy's 2016, Amy's favorite draft.
Look, I'm just saying there were a lot of Spartans taken that year, and I wasn't so happy with that. But you got to leave your college affiliation aside. And
what year did you graduate from Michigan again?
I'm from Michigan.
You're from Michigan? Okay.
And like, how many people do you hear about from Western Michigan who get drafted?
Anyway,
very few.
Connor Cook the God would have been a Hall of Fame quarterback if it hadn't been for the coaches holding him back. That's all I'm saying.
Oh,
Connor,
definitely. I actually got to meet Connor Cook in Napa, and we took a picture together, and he says, "Did anybody ever tell you that you look like The Rock?" So, of course, I said, yeah, of course, I get that all the time.
So he's your favorite player of all time?
Like, from that point on, I said, this guy obviously has the vision of a football player. And the fact that he's not starting, I think heads need to roll with coaching personnel. But apparently I was wrong, and he went to the XFL.
Oh, really? Yeah, I remember that. He's one of those guys, he got picked like 3 times and then got substituted, right? Like the first week. I think that was him.
Probably. But he is part of that great draft class of 2016 that we're going to revisit.
Is this going to make us all sad or what? Like,
Carl
should I go get
Joseph.
some Kleenex? What's this going to be like?
Joseph at 14. I think
Yeah.
this was another reach, if I remember correctly. Do you guys remember what people were saying about him?
It was a lot of like the bandwagon guys that are like, oh, it's great. This is going to be amazing.
Like the Haitian Hammer, he's going to play like Ronnie Lott.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, people get so caught up in their fandom that, they can't see, like, hey, there could be negatives. Like, not all these players work out, just like this draft. Like, maybe Bowden isn't exactly what we want him to be. Maybe, that Meeze guy that we took in the 3rd, like, that might have been a wasted pick, and we don't get the value back for him. With the first-round guy, especially in the, we picked him at 14, you want 2 or 3 Pro Bowls out of a player that you pick in the teens, And,
Oh, definitely.
And, he barely became a starter the last 2 years. and only at times and because people got injured, right? So if you want to call it a bust, call it a bust, but definitely not what you wanted out of a guy that you pick in the first round, right in the middle there.
Well, at least he has a job because looking at the 2016 draft,
Yeah.
I think only one name stands out in that entire draft.
Yeah. I mean, I think
And
DeAndre Washington probably had the best career with us, right?
Oh, definitely. He came in at a bad time, I think. So you had DeAndre Washington, and then you just brought in Marshawn Lynch at the same time. And obviously, he's not taking Marshawn Lynch's spot.
Well, I mean, that was
obvious.
a couple years later anyway. I mean, I think it's the creativity thing that we didn't like. You know, we had Washington and Richard. You know, do
pretty
something
similar.
Yeah, but do something. Put them both in the backfield and try to make the defense, you know, freak out a little bit. And we never seem to be able to figure that out. Whereas Denver always picks some guy in the 6th round and they plug him in and he's getting like 180 yards against us because we don't know how to scheme against running backs or against Denver.
So wait, let's go back to what you were saying earlier, because you were taking a look at some of our current draft picks and saying, oh, hopefully Gruden's going to get creative and like pull something out. And why do you think suddenly it's going to happen this year, but it didn't happen in 2016?
I mean, Del Rio was a terrible coach.
Right?
I mean, 2016, we had our best offense probably since the 2002 Super Bowl team, rated top 5 or something like that. So it was a good year, but we fired that coach. I always forget his name.
Oh, the Musgrave.
We always, you know, we fired him. Fans wanted him fired too. Like, let's not forget that they all hated him the whole time.
Yep.
And they were like, oh, the bubble screen. Why does he run a draw on 3rd and 16? And it's like, all right, we have the 5th best offense in the league. Who fucking cares? Let him call a fucking screen. Let him call a draw. You know, we're like, that was my sentiment at the time. But people really just hated him, even though we had one of the best offenses. But I mean, Gruden used to have a very forward-thinking offense when he first came into the league, and I'm hoping that he can come back to that.
You remember when Gruden put Charles Woodson in as a wide receiver and he scored a touchdown?
Yeah.
That's innovative right there.
Bubble screen, right?
I believe so.
And I feel like we never used Woodson enough on offense. Like, we would bring him in 1 or 2 plays a game, and everyone knew that the ball was going to him, so everyone just, you know, stacked that. Whereas if he had become, you know, if he comes in, you know, 15 snaps a game, 10 snaps a game or whatever, the 2016 draft, a sad state of affairs.
Yeah, Jihad Ward.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's the 2nd round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, very sad. And then it gets even sadder with Shalik Calhoun.
Yeah, I think he was on the team for like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, he was a project on the practice squad. Shahid Ward actually, he went to was it the Patriots or the Cowboys?
He went to Indy. Oh, Indy, Baltimore.
I was way off.
We're going to get you a map for your birthday.
A map of where the 2016 drafts have gone.
Yeah. It's going to be great. You frame it and put it up. It'll be fantastic.
I can update it every year.
Yeah.
And then we talked about Connor Cook the God already.
Yeah. The
DeAndre Washington.
Steal of the draft.
DeAndre Washington just left for the Chiefs. I was saying before we started recording, I always like it when the player goes to the rival because you know that he's going to score a big touchdown for the Chiefs next year. That'll be fun to watch. And then, let's see, 6th round, Corey James. Never even heard of him. I have no idea who that is.
12 tackles against Baltimore his rookie year.
26 games for us. Probably did a lot of special teams, I'm guessing. Vidal Alexander.
Oh, yeah.
I was big on the guard, Fidel Alexander.
Yeah, I think everybody was. Everyone was pretty high on that pick.
Yeah, he was a big boy. He was 6'5". So, I mean, if we're basing our pick this year, was it John Simpson, 6'4", 330 pounds. Fidel Alexander was 6'5", 325 pounds. So maybe size isn't everything.
No, it's definitely not everything.
Yeah, that was our 2016 draft.
Yay!
Everyone celebrate.
Wow, so Vidal Alexander hasn't played since 2017. So he's
Oh, wow.
safe to say he's out of the league.
Yeah, probably so. And I know that you were telling us earlier this week that you had read something as far as the upcoming scheduling and what that might look like. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Oh, yeah. So originally the NFL said that they're going to release the schedule on May 9th.
Mm-hmm.
Now a possibility that they might release it on May 7th, which would be a Thursday.
Ooh.
And then there's also a possibility that they might not release it.
Oh, okay. Now I'm sad again.
Yeah, it could be a happy thing or it could be a sad thing. So they have a couple different plans in place, provided that the season could start and start on time. They'll have the full 16 game. You know, you got the bye week. So you got 17 weeks of football, got your Pro Bowl, got your Super Bowl. There's a couple different plans. We'll think the most extreme one is that starting October 15th, and you'll eliminate the bye week. You'll eliminate the Pro Bowl, which, boo-hoo, I'll be very disappointed.
Haven't you been listening? Big Meeze is all about the Pro Bowl accolades. Like, if you were a first rounder, you better have 8 Pro Bowls to your name.
Well, having the title of Pro Bowl is one thing, but actually playing in the Pro Bowl is, you know, I've said it since I was young. Instead of playing the Pro Bowl, they should do a Madden simulation of the Pro Bowl. That would be a lot more entertaining.
I think that they should do a 7-on-7 tournament. You know, you pick however many players show up there, 120 players. Now divide those into 6 teams, so 10 people a team, and just run a 7-on-7. You know, like a flag football 7-on-7, where you draft your team, and then everyone, you know, every quarterback gets their squad, and then they go out and just play and have fun and make it. You know, like no one wants to see if you're not going to tackle, why even put on pads? Just go out there in shorts and a flag, and then you know let the offensive tackle run a couple plays at quarterback. You know, let them run a fade into the end zone. You know, like that would be fun.
That would be fun. It'd be like the Nike Air It Out tournaments that they used to have.
Yeah, do some shit like that. Just kind of make it relaxed. Everyone's in Hawaii. Everyone had way too many Mai Tais the night before.
Nobody wants to get hit.
No one wants to get hit. No one wants to hit. No one wants to get hurt. You know, play it out there on sand. You know, just chill it out.
The only way I'd be welcoming to watch the Pro Bowl is if they had it in Vegas and I got the seats that I have for the Raiders in that stadium. And a good price, too, because I'm not going to pay more than I don't know, $50, $75 to sit there.
Nah, it'll be like 125, 150.
Yeah, they could keep my ticket for that price.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy. You know, talking about the schedule in the Netherlands, they've already canceled the season for soccer. So their soccer seasons run from August all the way around until like April, May. So they canceled the season, and then I think yesterday the French league, the first and second division of the French league, canceled their season, and they said that there's not going to be anything until September. So, you know, when you're looking at it from that scale, like it's not unfeasible that we end up pushing back, you know, a few weeks or whatever. So.
Yeah, and every day that I don't see baseball or basketball being played, I start to get a little more worried about if football will actually be played, because I feel that of the 3 sports, baseball definitely has the least amount of contact. You have the most distance between players.
And no one watches.
If there's nothing else on TV, I will watch baseball.
What?
I will not.
No. Like,
I barely watched the ninth inning of like Game 7 a couple years ago.
Oh, Jesus. I actually got to enjoy the World Series while I was in Houston for the Raiders and the Texans game.
You went to a game?
I didn't go to a game because they weren't in Houston. They were playing on the road.
But you were at the bar or whatever.
Yeah, because Houston has a lot of food and you have to go to a lot of places and eat.
Yeah.
And of course, everybody was watching the game.
Did you go to any of the Cajun Vietnam fusion places?
No,
Where they do like the. Have you ever been to Rock and Crawfish in Oakland?
No, I can't do seafood.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I need a new podcast partner.
On top of having the taste buds of a child, I'm also allergic to seafood. So
Nice, that's a good combination.
Winning combination.
Yeah.
See, at least you're allergic. I have no reason. I just think I'm like, ew, that's gross. So that's me.
And she's Vietnamese. Like they eat the weird. They're supposed to eat the weirdest stuff, like octopus intestines and shit like that.
One time I was at Huntington Beach at this restaurant that was like right off of the beach, and one of my friends, I can't remember the name of it because I don't remember bad experiences or places of bad experiences. And my friend wanted like some stuffed wonton, but it was seafood inside, not wonton, like real wonton.
Right.
And so they ordered it, and they're like, "Try it." Like, no, trust me, I can't eat it. I'm like, no, come on, just try it. You'll like it. Like, trust me, I can't have it. I mean, I might like it, but it's not going to be nice. And so after a couple minutes of getting peer pressured, I decided to try it, and I bit into it. It tasted pretty good. But then when I got into my second bite, the first bite started to like close off my throat.
Oh my God.
So now I'm struggling to breathe, and then you're like thinking about like, okay, I got to keep this down, but you have more in your mouth, and it didn't stay down. So,
and where exactly do you keep your EpiPen?
I just stay away from seafood, and so I like spit it out into they have those napkins, like cloth napkins, and my friend is so embarrassed. She's like, I told you what was going to happen, but you didn't believe me.
I can't believe you caved. That's a medical reason.
Well, sometimes people are like badgering you so much, and you just want to like have them stop. You just, okay, I'll show you what's going to happen. And
Oh God.
I know, maybe not the best reason, but so my diet consists of mainly Mexican food, not the seafood part, but like beans and beef and pork, hamburgers, chicken wings, French fries, and pizza.
Doritos and a giant salami.
Yeah. Actually, with my Doritos, I actually had cream cheese with it. So.
Oh my God. You know what though? I worked at this office like, I don't know, it must be 7 or 8 years ago now. And the office manager, she would always say, oh, I've got this great treat for you guys. I'll go put it in a break room. It was legit a brick of cream cheese that she threw a jar of salsa on.
I've actually had that before.
It was kind of good. I'm not even going to lie. I was kind of into it. But when you walk into the break room and you're like, special treat, you're like, this is great. And I was like, bro, you opened 2 packages.
Okay, Meeze has the look of disgust and doesn't even know what to say right now.
Well, what's funny is she's talking shit about this lady's special surprise, and that's more ingredients than Amy can use while cooking.
I don't cook. I chopped vegetables tonight. So.
Oh, man.
Yeah, well, we opened the pool this weekend. It was it got to almost 90 degrees, so that was nice. It makes it so that the quarantine's a little better, So
yeah, having a pool would definitely make this quarantine thing a whole lot better. Right now, I'm just working and coming home, doing a little DoorDash, And I saw that Gavin Newsom says gyms won't be open for months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Not until there's some sort of treatment, not necessarily a vaccine, but a reliable way to treat stuff. So yeah, and at that stage, so it's a 4-stage plan. The first stage is basically gathering enough PPE and tests and stuff like that. Second stage is opening up more stuff, restaurants, bars, but at capped capacity. And then the third stage is there's something available to either treat it or possibly a vaccine. And then that's when they'll allow sports with no spectators to happen. And then stage 4 is when we're fucking free, finally. So we're in it for the long haul, it looks like. So
yeah, I think when we hit stage 4 and we're free, I'm gonna have to reenact Antonio Brown's video got released from the Raiders.
Well, that might not be until 2022. So
people might have forgotten.
there might be something better out to mimic better than that.
Yeah, well, by then, who knows if I'll even be able to move, because I am just putting on the weight with all this delivery food and not being able to go work out.
Yeah, I had just gotten into like a routine of like going to the gym. We were eating like chicken salad and then all of a sudden, like the first month of quarantine was just like pizza rolls, corn dogs.
I think that at some point we had chicken fingers in the freezer.
We had chicken fingers in the freezer.
You know, my favorite thing has been lately, BJ's Pizza. They have 50% off their pizzas, and you get a pizza for like $15, and they're pretty good.
BJ's Brew House or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I think they have them down here too.
Yeah, probably.
It's a chain.
Yeah,
it's a chain, but for $15 for a deep dish pizza, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, when I sold cars over in Dublin, they had one across the freeway. That was the first time I had a quinoa salad that day.
Ooh.
Like chicken quinoa or whatever. But
yeah, I stick to the basics like nachos and pizza from BJ's.
Those places are soulless, and I do not frequent them. But when you're way out in Dublin, because it's over by the Livermore outlets, like there's really not much else to eat except for chain restaurants.
Yeah, I used to work at a stereo shop in Dublin for a couple of years actually, and we had this one Chinese place called Shangri-La.
Yeah,
had the best salt and pepper spare ribs, but they changed ownership and everything went downhill. Yeah,
shit happens.
Yeah, it went more from like a restaurant to like a fast food takeout place.
Yeah. Well, we got my dad's wife sent us a gift box kind of thing from this place in Ann Arbor called Zingerman's. It's like a deli / roadhouse steakhouse kind of thing.
Ooh.
So it came with a loaf of sourdough and some cheese, and today I made a pretty fucking delicious grilled cheese sandwich with I think it was Gouda and a white cheddar from Michigan. So that was pretty cool.
That sounds pretty legit.
Yeah.
Hey, Amy, didn't you want to share a new sponsor of the show?
No.
Oh.
This is way too soon for that. You can tweet it out when we tweet out the link.
So you're working with the new sponsor.
Right. No, not gonna do it.
Not yet.
Yeah. Somebody in my group chat already asked to leave after I sent that. So I was like, oh, okay, Jason, whatever, dude. I was just kidding.
Just calling him up by name. Like, good job, Jason.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So it sounds like this is all we've had for the draft and everything like that. So you guys really loved what you heard today and you can't get enough of us, then subscribe, download, review us on your favorite podcasts. Let us know how you want to go back to when Matt wasn't talking anymore. Our website is cucuyanfriends.com, and that's going to also show you all the different ways that you can listen to our podcasts. We're on social media as @Cucuy and Friends, and that's Twitter and Instagram. John and I are on Twitter and Instagram as Cucuy Online and A Cantasano, and then Meeze is on Twitter as Meeze Erected. So until next time, Raider Nation,